Tonight's episode of the 31st Lap Podcast is brought to you by DirtTrackDigest.com. If it's on dirt, it's on Dirt Track Digest.
This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your hosts, is Mark Ward.
Good afternoon, good evening, welcome to episode number 191, if you can believe that, of the 31st Lap. Happy to have Mike Mallett joining us here on the hotline, talk a little bit about some of the racing action as we get closer and closer to the start of the 2016 season here in the Finger Lakes. Mike, thanks a lot for making some time for me. I understand you're on a busy phone call there, just as we were getting ready to roll off here.
Yeah, I had some things I had to talk about, but all good now. So apologize there for making you wait a little bit. But
I was getting nervous.
Oh, now.
You had the chance to get down to Florida. I saw you had a chance to write a couple of press releases, see some of the drivers. We'll start there, as that sort of is the unofficial start of the modifieds racing season. How was your trip down there?
Oh, awesome. You know, I can't complain at all. I mean, it's always amazing, you know, going to Florida. And come on, anytime you get out of New York in the month of February, there's nothing bad about it.
Nope.
And this year, the weather was gorgeous. I mean, they got every night in, which is very, very rare. You know, so I believe it was 12 consecutive nights of racing. So I had a great time. The modified racing was great. The sprint car racing was great. The late model racing was great. You know, UMP modifieds, the racing was great. So as a race fan, I couldn't be happier to have been down there and got the pleasure of doing what we got to do.
And you also spent a little bit of time in Pennsylvania recently, I see, and Greg Hodnett was looking pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good day for me. You know, I'm a Hodnett homer, so so it was nice to see Greg get a win. And, yeah, it was nice to see racing here in the Northeast. But the sad part is I think my flight home from Florida was shorter than my drive home from Lincoln on Sunday. So
really,
that's a little depressing. But I've been known to do crazy stuff, so 4.5 hours each way for a race really isn't that big of a deal. You know, and I got lucky. I got to do Trenton last weekend, as well as some racing from Lincoln, so it was a good weekend.
So, breaking news here today. I saw a peek of it on Dirt Track Digest through the course of today. Central New York Raceway Park formally breaking ties now with Rolling Wheels so that they can focus on their own efforts due to the status of the build project. Looks like they're going to be able to open this summer with full steam ahead towards hosting the new version of Super Dirt Week coming up here in October.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You know, I drive by every day. Today there was a lot of work going on up there at Central New York Raceway Park, so that was good to see. I don't think you have to worry about Rolling Wheels. I'm sure there'll be something, you know, something will happen there. You know, there's some interested folks and so on. Not much I can really talk about at this point, but, you know, there are things, that, you know, in the works, you know, as always, and we'll see how it all plays out. At the end of the day, you know, there's always rumors and speculation and things, so you got to assume some of it's true at this point. And when it all comes out, I'm sure, you know, it should be good for everybody. Hopefully, you know, if what's out there comes true, you know.
Right.
So we'll have to wait and see how that all goes.
I mean, nobody should really be surprised by this. I mean,
with the rumor mills.
Nobody should be too awful surprised by this. You kind of figure that the writing was on the wall for this to happen. The two tracks being so close together, one of them trying to get established, the other one already well established. They're somewhat going to be competitors, so to say. I guess it doesn't come to anybody as a surprise, I wouldn't think, that the two tracks parted ways, especially now with the efforts being focused on completing Central New York Raceway Park, and they've had pretty much a perfect winter to build a racetrack. We've had some pretty ideal weather in terms of doing outdoor construction.
Yeah, I don't think it gets much better than El Niño or El Nino, whatever one it is. I think it's been pretty. They've been pretty lucky. You know, most days here it's been pretty warm. I know, you know, we had that one shot of Arctic air. I didn't really get to experience it because I was in Florida, so I wrote that in. But, you know, you had that one shot 2 or 3 days there where it was wicked cold. But other than that, I mean, if you're going to you're going to do some outside work, this is the time to do it. So, and they've been lucky. And again, today, they were working hard up there. We had temperatures almost in the 30s, so if they can keep having it like this, next week we're supposed to be in the 60s. So, all that lends itself to favorable conditions for what they're doing.
What type of shot in the arm does Central New York Raceway Park get from the success of the synthetic surface at Rolling Wheels? So we saw the record lap, the world record speed with the sprint cars over there at Rolling Wheels in the fall, and the racing has been significantly better than some of the stuff that we've seen in years past on that synthetic surface, and it had only been a partial incorporation. It isn't a fully synthetic surface yet. We know that all that is going to be in place when Central New York Raceway Park opens. You hear any feedback on that angle? It seems like that's been a plus and should only help bolster the attention that gets.
Yeah, I don't know at this point what you can expect out of it, considering we haven't seen a full application of it. The press release said 50% of Rolling Wheels. So until we kind of get that full shot, Brewerton really didn't have the full application either. So until we can get that full shot, taken care of, I think that's the only way you're really going to know what's going to happen.
On the topic of full shot, sounding more and more like these sportsman cars going to be returning to Paradise Speedway. You been following that at all?
Yeah, I saw that. I think that's pretty neat. I think it was in September with the Grit Series.
Right. It seems like
that's definitely, it's unfortunate. I don't think I'm going to be in town that weekend, but I was hoping hoping to see that. I've never been fortunate enough to head over to Paradise. I've always wanted to. I've been there to stop by and see the facility, but I haven't had a chance to actually catch a race there yet. So, I'd definitely love to see some sportsman cars on it, or something else. But unfortunately, due to their regulations that they're faced with over there, once a year if you're lucky.
Right. They've had other full-size cars practice there on their Wednesday night practice sessions, but I believe it was since 1995 maybe that the track has been pretty much exclusively go-karts and dirt bikes, and then just recently here in the last 4 years or so they added the ATVs, the three-wheelers. And then also in that same time frame they were able to welcome back the four-cylinder division, which has been pretty popular. They've had a good following, things along those lines, but they haven't been able to quite turn the corner on getting all the stars to align. And there's some other stuff going on here in the background that's suggesting this is going to be a very good thing. We got to wait for all the cards to fall out the way that they may, but I'm excited about it. There's a lot of buzz around this, and there's a lot of people that have been wanting this for a long time. Hopefully everything stays the course, and we're able to see this thing through in September. Yeah,
I hope all goes well. I'd agree. So look forward to that. It's again. I know I have somewhere I have to be that weekend, but it should be a good deal for everybody involved, especially in that area. Especially for the guys with the Grit Sportsman Series. You've had the Gueris. They've run some tests and practice sessions there on Wednesday nights, I believe it was.
They sure have.
Not on their Facebook page, but. Yeah, so now to have the opportunity to actually race there should be pretty neat.
Their race party is coming up this Saturday at the Elks Lodge right here in Seneca Falls. We're going to be over there hanging out with those guys for a little while on Saturday. Go stop by and say hi. Canandaigua had their banquet over the weekend at the same place last Saturday. A lot of the drivers and folks turned out. They recognized the top 10 modified sportsman points, top 3 in the 305s, the street and pure stock divisions. Pretty good turnout for that over there. I know the Guerrero party is going to draw pretty well the week after, and then we start shifting into some of the other 305 racing parties. Lee Sanders, he's got his benefit at the Shortsville Legion in Shortsville, New York at the end of February. I think that's going to be, at the end of March. I think that's the 26th. And here just a couple weeks away, we're going to have Motorsports Expo in Syracuse at the State Fairgrounds. The week after that is Finger Lake Speed World, and by all intents and purposes, they're the last step before we get into running here local.
Yeah, it's only a few weeks away. It feels like it's been forever since I've seen a race, here in New York, but it's coming. It's right around the corner. This next few weekends, you got to travel a little bit. I know myself, I'll be at Lincoln Speedway this weekend if they're able to race. I know they're scheduled to get a little bit of weather here the next couple of days, but the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, doesn't look awful. I mean, cold, but what do you expect? It's March racing. And the following weekend, like you mentioned, I'll be going to Georgetown for their event down there on the 12th, or the 13th, that is, 12th. And then the following weekend, we've got a lot of racing actually going on. Sealands Grove kicks off the Race of Champions Tour under the Joe Skotnicki regime, so that'll be interesting. And I believe also Big Diamond opens up that Sunday. So if you're a modified fan, you got a couple of different nights you can head to the races.
I saw the Race of Champions doing a little bit of business this week. Ferris Mowers announced as a primary sponsor of the ROC Tour, and then they announced 4,000 to win Saturday the 19th of March.
Yeah, good week for the gang there, Joe Skotnicki and company to seal the deal with Ferris Mowers. I mean, that's big, corporate sponsorship for the Race of Champions. I don't think we've seen, I think this is the first time in the history of the Race of Champions where we've seen a title sponsor for the series. So that's nice to see. It's nice to see things kind of going in the right direction here for our racing series. You had, the World of Outlaws announced Craftsman, and Sears is their title sponsor for the pair of World of Outlaws series. And now you've got, Northeast Modified Series here with the Race of Champions and Ferris jumping on board.
And Napa re-signing to be part of the Empire Super Sprints Tour.
Yeah, I mean, we can keep going, I guess. A lot of...
Come on, I mean, I know you want to... I know you want to mention that.
What?
I said, I know you want to mention that.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, that's definitely a good deal too. To have Napa back on board. They were our U.S. sponsor last year, so they're back again to sponsor the U.S. tour. Of course, Lucas Oil still the overall tour sponsor. So, ESS has been fortunate. They've always had some pretty strong support from various sponsors. So, we just keep that tradition continuing here in 2016.
Tell me more about this Georgetown race.
Well, it's the first South Region race for Brett Dale Motorsports. The Short Track Super Series. Brett Dale's deal. If you're friends with Brett Dale on Facebook, which I'm sure most of the people listening to us will be, pretty impressive the amount of work he's done down at Georgetown here during the off season. They've been working on the track. Today they were putting in new boards. They've been doing a ton of painting. Just a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, excuse me. A whole bunch of stuff getting done here down at Georgetown. New signage, new this, new that. He's already got a pretty interesting group of drivers making the trek south. I mean, you got Craig Hansen, a guy who's from Johnstown, New York, heading south now to run at Georgetown. So that's pretty impressive. It's going to be a nice 5.5 hour, 6 hour tow for him. Then of course you've got Andy Bicchetti, David Van Horn, got the Dash to a Friesen also making the trek south with his Helmar team. So it's a pretty good deal, again, coming on Saturday, March 12th. And also on that date, you'll have the 602 Sportsman, the Delaware Vintage Stock Cars, Little Lincolns, Chargers, and Super Trucks that day. Gates open, what's it look like, about 2:30? Pit gates open at 11. Hot laps at 3, racing starts at 4. So early start time. Delaware should be nice, weather-wise, when you look at the extended forecast. I believe that is also the same weekend as what's coming up here, Motorsports Expo 2016.
Yeah, this is the 12th and 13th.
As well, let me double check. Yeah, same dates. So if you're a diehard, which I'm going to attempt to be, make the trek south. You go to Georgetown on Saturday, and then you drive back north, and you get to the Motorsports Show on Sunday.
You've been following the development. Yeah, you've been following the developments at all with Insinger Performance and Outlaw Speedway down in Dundee.
Yeah, that's a pretty good little deal they got going there.
Not bad, right?
Our series got made some good deals.
You got a shot. It's a 5-year deal with Insinger Performance, going to sign on with Outlaw Speedway down in Dundee, formerly Black Rock Speedway. And there's a $25,000 Outlaw Challenge. If you can win each of these 3 races, the Outlaw Spring Nationals, which is Friday, April 22nd. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks we'll be able to break some news on that. Outlaw Fall Nationals, which is the September 23rd and 24th. and then Dutch Oak National Open weekend, October 21st and 22nd. You can win all 3 of them. Or excuse me, I misspoke. If you can win 2 out of those 3 races, there's going to be a partial bonus. If you sweep all 3 of them, extra $25,000 going in your pocket. It's not too bad.
Oh, not bad at all. Again, you got to be a track regular though, so you got to compete there on Friday nights, which I don't think is unfair at all. I mean, if they're offered to put up $25,000, it makes sense to have one of their regulars win it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at all the things they're doing with the purses and so on, this purse is, it's in line with the rest of Central New York and a good deal, and he's taking care of the drivers. I mean, I think it helps that Tyler is a former driver himself.
Yep.
And he knows the hards and the ins and outs and the expense and the cost factor of doing business with the race cars. So, I think it's awesome to see him kind of giving back a little bit, and hopefully he can get some support from the drivers and the fans.
I also like the fact that he's coming from a situation where he's got a business where he's not counting on the racetrack to quote-unquote make money to pay his bills. The racetrack needs to just make enough money to pay for the racetrack, which I think is a remarkable situation for a promoter in this day and age to be in, coming into it new, if you follow what I'm saying. He's coming into a situation where he's already got everything stable on the backside. A lot of times we see people come in, and it turns out that their whole business structure is a house of cards, and it folds in a couple years. So I'm confident that Tyler's got a good head on his shoulders, and the way that this is set up, where Outlaw Speedway is going to be around for years and years to come. His coming from a background with motorsports as well, he has the intentions of running there. He's already drawn a solid field. We've got the reports that Danny Johnson's going to be racing there on a regular basis. Steve Payne's coming back. Modifieds have a home there again. So they're starting to get a little bit more stable footing here for that track in Dundee, where it's been a little bit rocky here over the last, 4 years, 5 years, and seems like everything's pulling in the right direction. Hopefully this thing can keep building momentum, and we'll see I almost called it Black Rock, Outlaw Speedway, really rise up the ranks in terms of Central New York racing.
It's going to take you a little bit not to call it by the wrong name, isn't it?
It is going to be a while. Yeah, it's still hard. Even when it was Yates County, I think I was still calling it Black Rock, and now it's changed names, I think twice since then. Yates County Speedway.
Yeah, I have the same. What was it? You were making fun of me over what I used to call Black Rock. What was it? The Craftsman Truck Series.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Are you going to get to Eldora
I
to
still
see?
haven't gotten over that one. So.
Well, at least Craftsman's back into racing now.
Yeah, that's good. See, I brought them back. I kept calling something there, and now they decided to come back. So I'll take responsibility for that.
Have you been able to confirm that you're going to make it back to Eldora for that race, the truck race?
I am going to Eldora. The plan right now is to leave the week before, go out for the Kings Royal, spend 3 nights there. I got a buddy that's going to have a camper there, so I'm going to have some place to camp, place to stay. Then we'll have a Sunday, Monday to kind of relax, and then Tuesday the big blocks. Wednesday, big blocks and truck race, and then Thursday I'll hit Sheridan on the way home. Then I'm going to go to Lernerville on Friday, and then probably Mercer Saturday, and I think I cap it all off with Weedsport on Sunday, because I believe that's the weekend Utica Rome is off for the Frog Fest. So as of right now, that's the plan, so I'm going to spend 2 weeks on the road.
Did you get to the asphalt events, the indoor shows on the concrete?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, Trenton this past weekend, I was fortunate to work in Atlantic City, so I had some fun there. Yeah, good deals. I didn't get to Allentown, but I heard Allentown was a huge success. Sellout crowd, so we can't beat that. And, looking forward to maybe, going again and doing some more next year. Hopefully I'll be able to get to Allentown. This year I was out at Cocopah for the winter heat, but there's some speculation, and who knows what's going to happen with that now that the promoter of that event took a new gig at somewhere, I believe, in Oklahoma. So he left his position at Cocopah to go there, so we'll see.
They'd almost be silly to get rid of that.
Works out. Huh?
It seems like they'd be silly to get rid of that.
Well, the first year, there was supporter, he had 30 cars every night.
Right.
But this year he had mid-40s, car counts. I thought the fan count went up. Again, I don't know what they said the economic impact in that area is really high for that event. Millions of dollars are being brought in, by the Speedway. And I got to assume, they pay big purses. The 4 out of the 5 pay $10,000 to win. $1,000 to take the green. The other show pays $5,000 and $1,000 or $5,000 or $500, something like that, to win and to take the green. So I got to assume, though, based on the fact that almost all the teams stay at the hotel that's owned by the same folks that own the racetrack. You have the casino there, you have people gambling, you have all that going on, and there has to be a major influx of cash that kind of goes along and is generated by the event, not just with the fans in the stands. So, hopefully that comes back. I know I enjoy my trip out there every winter. And this year I made it even, a little bit better. We even went over to San Diego for a few days and got to do a tour of the USS Midway and
Nice.
an aircraft carrier, and do some other history dork stuff. We visited Rosecrans National Cemetery, and just went history dork for a day. So hopefully that comes back. That's awesome. It's a lot of fun. So I'm hoping, and what's better than December going to the desert to watch some racing.
Now, you've been out there twice, or is it more than that?
I've been out there the last 2 years.
2 years.
So it's been good. I went with DTD photographer Brent Smith. Him and I headed out and had a good time.
Excellent. Where are you going to be spending your opening weekends here in New York? You going to try and make it over to Fulton?
Right now, if all goes to plan, looking at my first race in New York, I'm assuming it'll be some point in April. As to when, I'm not sure yet. I will be at Fulton's, the Friday-Saturday portion of the Fulton show.
Right.
The weekend event, because Friday night is an Empire Super Sprint event, and then Saturday we'll have the Super Dirt Car Series race, so I'll be at both of those events. And then prior to that, I'm sure I'll hit somewhere in New York. I know Utica Rome opens the 17th, give or take. Hold on a second. Let me take a look here. April 17th, so I'll be at Utica on April 17th, but I'm sure I'll have a race in New York before that. But we'll see. I'm just excited. I can't wait. I'm getting tired. Not that I don't love sprint cars and and going to see them, but the driving sucks.
Yeah, I can relate to that. It got to a point last summer where a 5-hour drive was nothing.
Yep.
Just get in the car and go 5 hours. No big deal. It's a day trip.
What is this thing I'm seeing? Now, you would know since you're a demo derby guy.
Oh, uh-oh.
I saw an ad for this. I saw an ad for it. It's called Rockin' Derby.
Rockin' Derby.
It's Albany, and I don't know if it's a demo.
Yeah,
what it is.
Yeah.
Rock and Derby, it's called.
Yeah, it's is that the one that said I don't know, I'm gonna mispronounce it. Shattuck?
Yes, Schaghticoke, yep.
Yeah, I've seen some highlights on that. The show is gonna happen. It's a definite. They've got all the bands advertised are going to be there. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how many cars they draw, because I believe it's Tony Roberts that's hosting it. But indeed, that is something that's going to happen. And the band lineup is remarkable over a couple of days. And they've got a whole bunch of different motorsports-related events that are going to be there.
Yeah, and the only reason I paid any attention to it is because Shinedown was supposed to be there.
Yes, that's...
I'm a Shinedown guy. So that kind of caught my attention, but the fact that it was like rock bands and Demolition Derby together, that just was interesting.
Yep, that's I had a column in the last issue.
I know a little bit about it.
I had a column in the last issue of the Derby Inc. magazine about that event and the Climax 100,000, which is in Illinois in July. It's a derby that's paying $100,000 to win.
Oh.
Yep, it's a Raceway 45.
Yeah, you building a car?
No, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to be out there.
Nice.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Well, that'll be good.
I'd like to think so. I got to get with you too. Actually, I forgot. I'll get with you here when we're. Is there anything else that you wanted to hit on? It was been a nice news week in terms of people landing sponsors and stuff like that, but there hasn't been anything that really shook us. Aside,
I mean, the only big thing we had this week was the rolling wheels thing.
Yeah, that's
the change occurring there, and other than that, it hasn't been like the rest of the off season where there's some major breaking news announcement.
Well,
a whole bunch of things are changing.
I didn't think that it was possible to top the Matt Shepard story, and then he topped it himself when he brought in Randy Kosacki, and then it got topped again when HBR expanded from a 1-driver to a 4-driver operation, bringing Blaney, McLaughlin, and Peter Britton. And so it's going to be tough to top that anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I would like now, hopefully, for the news to be, racing news.
Yes. Well, we're right on the top of it. We're going to be there soon. We're going to be live Saturday from the Guerrero Racing Party in Seneca Falls at the Elks Lodge. I look forward to catching up with a bunch of drivers over there. And likewise, we're going to be live the 19th and 20th from Finger Lake Speed World in Auburn Mall here in March. So look forward to catching up with some fans there. There's going to be some RC car racing, going to be some RC car derby. We're going to have a bunch of race cars and stuff there. So looking forward to all that stuff coming to pass. Quick edition of the 31st Lap, episode number 191. Touched on a lot of the sponsor type stuff that's come out this week, and we're looking forward to getting into a little bit more of the sponsor talk. We'll start moving into some of the previews of the local tracks and some of the landscape, what we hope to see through the course of 2016. Before we get out of here, again, best wishes out to Dave Medler. Saw that he got out of surgery. Everything looked like it went pretty well, so wishing a speedy recovery to Dave. And I think, Mike, man, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I'm good to go, man. I think we touched on anything that was news this week.
Well, that was the goal. That's going to do it for this edition of the 31st Lap. We're glad that everybody's hanging out with us. We'll see you right back here again next week.